The word pan-Indian films have been in vogue since the success of Baahubali the beginning. Recently, Brahmastra has been released as a pan-Indian film. But what exactly are pan-Indian films? What are the reasons for the success of pan-Indian films? Let's find out. They are films that are made catering to the sensibilities of the audience across the country. The individual elements of filmmaking are designed to ensure relatability across different geographical belts of India. This is done through release in multiple languages simultaneously, using actors across different film industries, intelligent marketing, and relatable storytelling. The success of pan-Indian films is not an overnight phenomenon. To understand the success of Baahubali, you have to understand the history of South Indian films and how they slowly penetrated the markets across India by crossing the linguistic barriers. According to TOI, a 1959 Kannada film called Mahishasura Mardini can be retrospectively called the first pan-Indian film. It was dubbed and released in 7 languages. This faded away, and for many years cinema was made specific to the region of their origin. The importance of dubbing to expand the audience base was only utilized later since the 2010s when Telugu and Tamil films were dubbed in Hindi for television.
अब होगा entertainment शुरू।
अब ये DJ कौन है?
The dubbing often felt unnatural and sometimes comedic.
ये क्या है? ये इंट्रो था जैसे मंत्र उच्चारण कर रहे हो DJ,
as it was made specifically for the local audience. But in spite of that, television opened the gates of southern cinema to the entire country. The stars of the southern film industry became familiar faces across the country. But still, theatrical success was not massive and their reach was limited. How did Baahubali crack this code? Baahubali was released in multiple languages across India at the same time. It became a massive success, earning around 600 crores on a 180 crore budget. The success of Baahubali changed the face of the Indian film industry. Every film industry started making their own pan-Indian film. KGF Chapter 1, KGF Chapter 2, Pushpa and RRR were all massive hits. But what's the secret sauce that catapulted them to such massive numbers? Pan-Indian stories oscillate between the realm of the mythological and the local cultures. The infusion of the two aspects make them equal parts relatable and larger than life. The story of underprivileged heroes fighting the odds to rise in a society controlled by elite despotic villains has been there since ages. The local setting of this story in places that are historically, culturally, or mythologically important are what makes them different. The chosen one, a villain with a singular motive, and fictionalized history are common elements of the story. They often have protagonists that are almost mythical in stature. Hypermasculinity, demonstrated through truckload of action sequences, are a running trait in most of these films. Barring a few exceptions, these films are sometimes criticized for not writing strong female characters. They are often written to promote the male protagonist's arc and lack depth. Visual effects supervisor for RRR, V. Sriniwas Mohan, in an interview with The Hindu, states that Rajamouli told him that the visual effects should enhance storytelling without overshadowing it. The visual effects in RRR blend in so effectively with the story that sometimes the audience doesn't even notice it. The CGI is created with absolute precision. V. Sriniwas Mohan talks about the scene where NTR Jr. fights with a CGI tiger. He says, creating a tiger that looked realistic was one part of the job. The next was to film the action sequence with the actor and an empty space where the tiger will be placed in the post-production stage. The tiger's speed and movement were calibrated. The camera moves accordingly and the actor emotes on cue. The production design and costume remain authentic to the time period they are set in. This makes the audience culturally connected to the story. Photographs and paintings are studied to accurately depict the costumes, behaviors, and spaces of that era. Other than cinematic brilliance, marketing a film is a big factor for the success of pan-Indian films. KGF's marketing team launched a fictional newspaper called KGF Times to promote the film. The newspaper came out in multiple languages and explained the story of the first chapter like a vintage print article. It was marketed differently across different regions of the country. This ensured that the buzz of KGF never died down. So, how will pan-Indian films change the course of cinema? The assimilation of cultures across India has been a big factor for the commercial success of pan-Indian films. There is a fear that the pursuit of commercial success will result in mixing intercultural elements that feel forced into the story. But when done organically, pan-Indian films can push the commercial and creative boundaries of Indian cinema.